I'm joined now by Josie Caballero, Director of Special Projects at the National Center for Transgender Equality and a Forbes contributor. Josie, I appreciate you coming on here. Look, we're in a weird spot. We'd gotten to the point where mainstream culture has changed enough that LGBTQ marketing is favorable enough for large corporations. We're now seeing this backlash suddenly come. What is your take on this moment? Because I mean, just even last year through the previous decade, it felt like we'd moved beyond this.
Yeah, what we're seeing is an extreme ramp up of anti-LGBT ideologues, like some that you just shown, that are really causing this fervor, this anger in the community. It's only a small amount. And what you're starting to see is that when this fervor gets so loud and reaches a boiling point, it starts to reach a level where you're starting to see violence. And it's a very scary time right now.
What is happening in these executive conversations? I know you've been doing some reporting. You've had some of these conversations. What are you hearing? I mean, look, we know the one thing about corporate executives is that they can just be cowards. And I mean this in if they come from the left or the right, they want to just crawl under their desk. What are you sensing?
It's roughly that, right? When you see that 9 specific Target stores have gotten bomb threats, you also see Anheuser-Busch factories receiving bomb threats, and even the Clydesdale marches with the horses, you've been seeing these threats of violence. And so what's happening is that these executives are really having to do this balancing act, right? Where they want to market merchandise to, about 9-10% of the population that demands this stuff, versus the backlash and the anger and the vitriol and the threats to their staff and their customer base. So it's a very hard time for them to realize, like, should we work in the side of profits and sell products, or should we try to look at the safety of our own staff and employees?
It doesn't feel like we have a place to litigate this. I mean, part of this, I think, spark obviously is coming from state legislatures that have been doing it's political theater and on the right. I mean, we know what it's designed for, but like, where do we go for resolution here?
Absolutely. Well, a lot of this backlash is really starting to get loud because more and more people across the country, the general public, are starting to say, absolutely, it's okay for trans people and LGBTQ people to exist in my community. They're our family. They're our leaders, our politicians, our friends, our postal workers. And because of people's, saying, yes, this is okay, the increased visibility of trans people thriving in public life and just regular life in general, that is what is the best solution to this problem. We also need to make sure that these corporations start taking real stances. This isn't about just putting a rainbow logo out on your community. This is more than that. And they have to make public statements to say, we're going to serve the people that want these products.
I was just going to say, we're about to learn who's an ally and who is simply, I don't know what you want to call it, pride washing, I guess might be a phrase.
Yeah. Absolutely, because now the rainbow logo actually means something, because the second you slap it on your organization, you're going to have extreme ideologues coming at you. And so really, we're going to see, like you said, who is going to stand by this this month of Pride right now, and we'll see who our real allies are and see if their activism was just paper thin.
Are you sensing that members of the LGBTQ community want to pull back on some Pride events for fear of violence?
Absolutely. I mean, there is the fear of violence everywhere. We talk about safety and basically keeping your head on a swivel, but we have to remember where the roots of Pride came from. It came from a protest in Stonewall, where our existence was just a crime just to be openly out. So the queer community is ready to show their pride like the queer community has throughout history. So we're going to go and we're going to be proud and celebrate what it is to be a part of this community, and we're not going to stop to show who we are and be visible in our communities.
It does seem as if this is a small band of loud voices that have used social media to gain traction. Do you see any responsibility here in social media companies or You know, is that just something that ship has so sailed, there's nothing we can do about it anyway?
Well, you have seen the loosening of TOS, standards in the terms of use in some of these social media companies. So you've seen loosening behavior where on Twitter you can actually now openly misgender people, which is wrong. But honestly, we need to start calling this what it is. It's stochastic terrorism. These people are raising people's anxieties and angers, saying very explicit things like we're going after children, and it's causing these radical few voices to actually take up and do action. And yes, absolutely, social media companies are responsible for not holding these media figures to account.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.